everyone, it's me, your host, Leani Lopez. We are back for season 2 of I Got Nothing, a podcast for exhausted writers. If you are just joining me for the first time, welcome. In this podcast, I take about 20 to 30 minutes per episode and talk about all things writing, from everything to the writing process, or writer's block, or tips for writing specific genres, things like that. A little bit of background. I have been writing for pretty much my entire life. I have a bachelor's degree in creative writing. I have been ghostwriting for about 4 years now, I want to say. And yeah, so I just have a lot of thoughts on writing and I like to share them. Sometimes I come up with the topics myself. Sometimes listeners submit questions, things of that nature. I get very excited when people submit topics because that means I don't have to think of any. So if you have a topic you'd like me to cover, or if you have a question you'd like to ask, send it my way. I'd be more than happy to take a look. Since this is the first episode of season 2, I did want to just give a little update on what's been going on with me. Lots of writing. I started a specific Instagram for my author profile. So you can find me on Insta at Leani M. Lopez. And on there, I post status updates. I like to connect with other authors. And pretty much anything writing related, just in visual form. For those of you who don't know, I had a pretty big writing development last month at the end of 2021. I finally self-published my own novel. After ghostwriting for a few years, I decided to just bite the bullet and publish a manuscript I have had sitting in my documents for an obscene amount of time. And I am so glad I did. It was very nerve-wracking. It was something I wasn't planning on doing. I kind of had the thought to do it and decided to fool around in Canva and see if I could put together a book cover that I would be happy with. And I did. So from the time I decided to publish to the time I was actually published, I think was only like 3 or 4 days. I worked around the clock those days just to get everything ready. And yeah, I published an erotica novel under my own name called Slip of the Hand. It's available on Amazon. It is in ebook form and in paperback. And this is the first time anything I've ever written has been in print. So it was very emotional and very exciting when I got the actual print of the book. My husband recorded a video, which you can see on Insta. I was trying so hard not to cry. And I'm really glad I did it. After it was published and I was considering what I wanted to do for the next season of this podcast, I was looking at my list of possible episodes that I had started way back in the day. And I decided for this first one, I really wanted to focus on the idea of just going for it. I spent so much time just doubting myself, doubting my writing, doubting if Slip of the Hand was the story that I was supposed to be putting out or wanted to put out. I did publish it a couple years ago, I think back in 2015. And I was really proud of doing that. It, made some sales. It was only ebook form. They didn't have paperback options available back then. But I think in about 2020, I had learned so much more writing-wise, especially in the romance and erotic genre, that I decided to take it down and just do another pass over it, not just for content, but also grammar and formatting and things of that nature. So I sat on that for almost 2 years, and it was done for a while. I literally had a 250 plus page manuscript that was done, edited, and just sitting in my documents because I was too scared to do anything with it. I don't know necessarily what possessed me to take another look at it. No, that's not true. I'm a big fat liar. There was one thing. I loved the original artwork for Slip of the Hand, but it didn't fit necessarily in with the genre that it was supposed to be for, which is erotica and romance. There's a very specific kind of cover design that catches people's eye. And I didn't know how to go about doing that because I don't have an abundance of funds, and I wanted to get it done correctly and professionally, but I did not have the funds to pay someone to do it. So, which meant I would have to do it on my own. And I wasn't quite sure how to do that. I've been in marketing, or I was in marketing for a few years, but graphic design, not exactly my forte. I can kind of stumble through it. But I was trying to figure out what to do, and then I heard that Canva actually has templates for book covers, which I did not know. So I was like, oh, well, let me just take a look. And they have some pretty great options, especially if you have a free account. So I played around with a couple, and I actually found one that I really, really liked, and it kind of had the same energy that I was looking for. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'm out of excuses. I don't have any more that I can just pull out of the ether. So I guess I should probably do this. And it took a little finagling. And I know looking back now, there is stuff that I want to do a little bit differently when I release my next book. But for what it was and for the amount of work I put into it, I am so happy with the final product. And I am so glad I took the plunge to do that. Another big factor, of course, was letting the world, i.e. my friends and family, finally know that I write erotica. That has been a closely held kind of piece of information since my teenage years. Only a select few knew, mostly cousins, never adults. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to release this book. It's an erotic novel. People are going to know I wrote it. And so what I ended up doing is right on the cover, under the title, it says an erotic thriller. Because I didn't want to have to explain over and over again what kind of book it was and feel the need to warn people. Unfortunately, people don't read, so I still have to kind of do that. But having it right on the cover kind of just rips that Band-Aid off right away. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't have any more excuses. It looks good. It's ready. So I did it. And it was the best thing I could have done for myself. I have been writing for other people for so long, not just ghostwriting, but writing fan fiction. That definitely has its own kind of category. And as much as all of us fanfic writers tell ourselves and tell others that we're writing the story for ourselves, a part of us knows we're writing it for other people. So this was the first piece of writing that I was just going to release for myself. Granted, the original draft of Slip of the Hand was a fanfic from a long-lost fandom long ago. Alternate universe, so the only thing that was really fanfiction about it were the names of the people. Everything else was just from my brain. So it was very easy to transition it to an original novel because that's pretty much what it was to begin with. But yeah, I did it, and I'm glad I did it. I received so much support from my friends and family. Just overwhelming support that I was not even counting on, and it just still makes me emotional just to think of how many people who I don't speak to on a daily basis still reached out to congratulate me the very surreal moment was about it was only a couple of days after the book was released and my friends were sharing it on Facebook. That was kind of the majority of the marketing in the first week or so. I was at Walgreens waiting to get my booster shot for the COVID vaccine. And someone, a woman, just somehow recognized me with my mask and everything and was like, "Congratulations on your book." And I don't know who this woman was, and it was super, super surreal because I was not expecting it. Small towns, that's what you get for living in a small town. But it was so cool. It was so cool. I was just like, thank you, because I didn't know what else to say, so of course I was really awkward about it. It really made me take a whole new look at myself, my writing, my personal writing, not my work writing, not what I do for my job. Because for ghostwriting, I have completed well over 10 projects, which means over 10 books. And I don't think about it because it's not mine, it's just a job, and I kind of write it and pass it on. So to have one book under my belt with my name is just so much more personal, and it made me start taking a look at all my other projects that I've put on the back burner for various reasons. And I actually started kind of compiling a list, going through them, seeing which ones I have the energy and inspiration to continue working on. Some I probably won't for a while, or if ever. And immediately started thinking about which one I want to do next. So what I wanted to talk about in this episode, and what I wanted to kind of just put forth to other writers, is just go for it, guys. My dude, my girl, my man, my others. Just do it. Just do it. It's gonna cause you anxiety. You're going to make mistakes. Not everyone is going to like it. You're gonna have people who say they'll read it and they don't. You're gonna have people who seem really excited and then they get the book and you never hear anything from them again. It's gonna happen. And countless other scenarios that I can't even name right now. It's going to happen. And as difficult as it is, and as much as that little stupid imposter syndrome is playing in the back of your mind, at some point, you gotta tell it to shut up and just go for it. Because you're always gonna be stuck wondering, and you're always gonna be stuck in this in-between. So if you go for it, no matter the outcome, you're gonna learn something from the experience. Immediately, I found spelling mistakes in the back cover, and I realized once it was in print that the cover art hadn't been centered properly in the editor and things like that. So the first 5 or 6 copies of the book people got are less than perfect. Nobody pointed it out. I noticed it myself. Thankfully, I released it through KDP Amazon, so it was very easy to go back and fix those things. So once I fixed them, then I kind of pushed the marketing through a little bit more, and I felt a lot better. And even now, I'm still finding issues. I think when I was talking to my mother, who read the book, she pointed out, which I did not even think about, the people on the cover don't necessarily match the descriptions in the book. But I didn't notice that because the energy of them was so spot on that I was like, oh yeah, that's totally them. And when I found that out, in the past, it would have sent me spiraling into anxiety. I would have been like, oh my God, do I have to change the cover? Do I have to go back into the book document and change the descriptions? But I didn't have any of that because at that point, it was published. People are reading it already. And it's so minor in the grand scheme of things that I was like, that's funny. I'll keep that in mind next time. Anyways, and I actually moved on, which is huge for me. It's actually just a funny thing now that I think about and giggle, because I was just so focused on releasing it, I didn't even think to look back in the document and see if, do these people match? And in the future, I'll keep that in mind. Or in the future, I may not even deal with full-on descriptions because I really like my readers to come up with their own visuals. But I'll just, I'll deal with that when it comes up next time. There's nothing I can do about it now. I mean, there is, but it'll be more trouble than it's worth, and I'm not even bothering. It's published, and I'm moving on. When I first published it a few years ago, I would not have been able to do that. Which brings me to another point in terms of timing. There's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be the perfect moment. There's never going to be the perfect project. There are going to be times that are better than others. I think when I released it before, I just didn't have the mental capacity or the knowledge to kind of push through with marketing and marketing myself and all of that jazz. So waiting a few years helped me personally. But there is still a certain point where you can't wait anymore. You just kind of have to take the plunge and see what happens. Another thing that I went back and forth on internally was, is this the right project? Is this the perfect project? I want to put out the right one. There's no such thing. It's really your preference. You're the one writing it. You're the one putting it out there. It's up to you. And one of the things I have realized throughout this process is that there wasn't the perfect project or, yes, this one, until I put the effort to make it so. It wasn't like my brain was like, yes, out of all of your work in progresses, you're going to select this one because this is the right one to put out. It was, okay, I have this one done. How can I put it out? And just changing my mentality just changed my options. Again, this is all easier said than done. I am no expert, clearly, but this is what I have learned throughout this whole process. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to accidentally create a cover where the characters don't look like the characters you describe. It's okay. Mistakes are going to happen. And, if they're small and don't affect sales or the story as a whole, you got to learn to let them go. If there's something that you can fix, easy. Fix it, move on, keep going. So now that I have released that book, everything kind of has just been bumped to a 10 because I'm so excited to keep going. This is a brand new journey for me. I'm still getting used to it. Every now and then I'll check the sales, and every few days I'll see a paperback has shipped, and I'm just like, so excited. I don't have many reviews. I have 2 reviews, 2 5-star reviews from when it was first released. So now that people have been reading the book and are starting to finish the book, I'm kind of trying to push and remind people to review. So if you have read Slip of the Hand, please head over to Amazon and Goodreads and submit a quick review. You don't have to give full details, even just a 4 or 5-star saying I liked it, loved it, whatever. That's it. That's all you got to do. And it's going to make such a difference. Not just in terms of book sales, because more people see the reviews, but for me, it'll make me really happy. I am really curious to see what people think. But the most important thing is that my mom loved it, and that's all that matters. So Mom, if you're listening, thank you. I love you. I'm glad you loved it. It was very entertaining to listen to your live review of it. And I'm just so happy I did it, and just so excited with all the things I have planned for this year, which brings me to my next point. This is the first year I'm actually setting writing goals for myself because I want to keep this momentum going. And so far I've been doing pretty damn good. Of course, it is still early on in the year, so we'll check back in a few months and see if that's still the case. But I'm just so excited, and I'm using that excitement to kind of fuel my inspiration and keep going forward. I have a crime thriller romance that I'm in the middle of writing of, still in the very early chapters. I have also started looking at a lot of old short stories, old buried fan fiction that doesn't really constitute fan fiction anymore, and seeing if there's anything that I can adapt and edit and kind of add to my plethora of ideas. So I have a couple of things coming down the pipeline, hopefully. I'm not announcing anything yet because I want to make sure I can actually follow through with them. Because, life and all that jazz. But I'm so excited. I'm excited to have this podcast back. I'm excited to reach a whole new slew of people. So please, 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 please feel free to reach out. Let me know. Let me know if you like the book. Let me know if you didn't like the book. Totally fine either way. And I hope you continue listening to this podcast because I really enjoy making it. And I'm really excited that I get to do a second season. And I get to keep talking to you all lovely people about writing because it's my favorite thing in the world. And I love sharing discussions and writing tips with fellow writers and even readers. So welcome back to I Got Nothing. And welcome new listeners. I hope you stay tuned and catch my next episode. Bye.